Welcome to the It's All Good show. This week, my guest is my dear friend, and I refer to her as my forever angel, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. And I have in front of me a sheet of paper that has her bio, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. She is so incredibly accomplished, but it's a little challenging for me to read a bio about her because for me, knowing her personally, and let me read some of the highlights here. She's taught holistic medicine for more than 4 decades. Her research in applied integrative biophysics has earned prestigious recognition, such as the Presidential and International Who's Who. She's lectured at the United Nations, at MIT, the World Summit on Integral Medicine, the Royal Society of Medicine, Mount Sinai Medical School, the Scalar Research Experts Conference, and it just goes on and on. She is an amazing person that is playing an incredible role in changing the world for so many of us. And she was highlighted in a video, Revolution of Healing, Moving Beyond Medbed Technology, that went viral. This was almost a few years ago, 2 years ago, featured in a documentary, Healing Humanity Beyond the Speed of Light. But what she is, I referred to her already as my forever angel. She's the one that stepped up for me shortly after I had back-to-back strokes and was in a wheelchair, barely able to walk. And she said, you get yourself to Las Vegas and we're going to shift what's going on with you. And it was 2 hours in her energy enhancement system, EESystem, 2 hours that had me walking unassisted. And that is just... So to me, that's in my book, that's her bio. Here she is, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on your new podcast. I think it's exciting. Remember the first thing I said to you, we got to get you back out there, doing this, the work, doing
exactly what you said. And at the time I thought, you said, we got to get you back out there doing what you do. And I thought, really walking would be good. Touring wasn't even that much on the list. And look at me now. So much has shifted, and you really gave me your technology and then just your heart space and that of your team, Michael and Mela and just everyone that's in your sphere, helped me get my life back, which is I well up with tears. It's obviously huge for me.
A huge blessing for humanity with the work that you're doing. How many of our centers, you've been on that tour of love, sharing your testimonial, your story, but your music, I couldn't call it music, but your healing modalities with the bowls and everything. How many centers have you visited in this tour?
We've been to, I don't have the exact number. That would have been good for me to get before this interview, but it's somewhere between 30 and 40 centers. This year, we had to cancel 37 events based on what was going on in Florida and everything. And that was a tough one for us. And that put us at about 81 events, but then we regrouped. And at this point right now booked, we do everything this year. We'll be at 95 events. And I would say 90 of them have been at EESystem centers. Now we do 2 or 3 events in a day sometimes, but it's been incredible, for me to be able to go around and share my story in literally surrounded by the technology that help facilitate my healing process is incredible. And then to get to hear the stories of people that are being healed in these rooms all over the world. I want to say that you've got over 700 centers now in 57 countries around the world. That's just, I mean, just those energies anchored at 700 centers plus all the private systems. These are just the public ones. That alone shifts the energy of this planet. I find myself really hopeful about everything that's going on when I talk about what you've done and how you've anchored the energy all over.
Yeah, just want to heal the world, and look how much healing you're able to now share with humanity with all the traveling that you're doing. It's I talk about anchoring and connecting, linking the energies of the grid of it's phenomenal what's occurring for accelerated evolution. But bringing healing to humanity beyond the speed of light. I like that one because scalar moves at superluminal velocity. So, and that's what it's really all about, is that connecting of consciousness and that memory that we are luminous, powerful beings of light, radiant beings of light. And then as we radiate light and we activate, literally the technology is designed to activate the light within you. And then as you radiate light, nothing that's not of the light can affect us. But it's also, as you experience, is giving the body the energy to heal itself. Because when the body has the energy, it wants to heal anything and everything. And traveling the way you've done and hearing people's miracle stories, that, all these different places, isn't that the best?
It really is. It's when I first got down to Las Vegas, it was September of 2020, and there weren't hundreds of centers all over the world. There weren't a lot of people talking about it. Most of your technology were in private homes all over the world, but those people weren't standing up and shouting about it on social media and everything like that. And now there's the EESystem owners groups, the testimonials, the enthusiasts, and the stories that are, I mean, happening every day in centers all over the world. It's got to just, I mean, for me, it's whelming just to think about it, that I'm not the exception. Back in 2020, I kind of felt like maybe I was the exception. And then, when the podcast with Jason Shirka came out.
Yeah, that was May 27th of 2022. That's when that interview was released, May 27th, 2022. We had about 25 centers then, and then thousands of installations in private homes, but like the Sultan of Abu Dhabi and stuff, that's not exactly on social media. He doesn't share with anybody other than his close associates.
And it's really taken off since then. I mean, you must have known when you developed all this that it was really going to take off. I imagine you were, I mean, I know you as a very patient person, but I imagine deep down you were a little bit impatient for it to really kick in.
I joke about that. I'm like the kid in the back seat of God going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Yep, that's me. And yes, I was always told that initially it had to be primarily in private homes, so it couldn't be stopped all over the world in private homes, because it's working with the grids within the planet, around the planet, and each system is expanding the fields of consciousness of alignment with true best and highest potential, just that highest potential of who we are as beings on the planet, and to hold the energy of that, the space of that. And so each system that went in was helping anchor that energetic, within the planet, around the planet, as a consciousness of alignment with true best and highest interest, or us being aligned by the light, with the light as the light. Again, talking about being luminous, powerful beings of light, right? And so it was laying the foundations, doing the homework, doing the research, lots and lots of research with lots and lots of top scientists, plus the peer-reviewed published studies. We already had lots of reversals. And that's why I said, get yourself to an EESystem after your stroke, because we already had witnessed so many miracles with strokes before I sent you that message. And so we already had the experience, and the peer-reviewed published study out there in reversal of seizure disorder, and that's published Journal of Neurology Research. University of Hawaii Med School has had our technology about 18 years, all kinds of miraculous results. But healing's from the inside out, not outside in. It's activating the light within us, and it's still up to people and their body what they do with the energy. You knew how to meditate and focus and use that energy and got extraordinarily rapid, miraculous results because you hold a space of miracles. You needed a bit of a reminder at that point. You weren't doing so good when you got here.
Certainly was not. Challenge, to say the least.
No, you were not in great shape. But it was a miraculous turnaround.
It is fascinating how it works. And we've seen people. I remember I was at a center, and a woman was sitting next to me afterwards. She had just been part of our experience. And I turned to her and I said, "Oh, and I knew she was a regular at this center. I said, how many hours have you, been here for, over the time you've had experiences here?" And she said, 70 hours. And that's when I was at your place for 5 weeks. That was my magic number, was 70 hours. And I got all excited and I said to her, "Wow, 70 hours. That's incredible. What has changed for you? What have you experienced?" And she looked at me and she said, "Absolutely nothing." And in addition to trying my hardest to not fall off the chair at that moment, I continued to have a conversation with her. And in the next 5 or 10 minutes, probably 6 times, she said to me, "I've been exposed to Agent Orange and it's killing me." To the point that I had to say, "Stop saying that to me. I'm not the person for you to repeat that to." And then I went on and I said, "I bet you pull over on the side of the road when you see someone walking alone, get out of your car and tell them that you've been exposed to Agent Orange and it's killing you." I said, "Of course you haven't. You've been blocking what your body naturally wants to do by repeating this story of yours." Mm-hmm. And I think there's a point there about people that are allowing it and kind of connecting the dots within themselves about maybe why they're in the situation they're in.
They have to give people the energy to change their mind, to change their diet, to change but their thoughts are big because the body hears every word you think, and even more so say. And as long as she kept hearing, "It's killing me, it's killing me," her body's taken that very, very personal. And it's going to keep manifesting that whole syndrome until she decides to focus on what she wants, not what she doesn't want. You want to use the energy. It's giving the body and the energy to heal itself, but it's still up to you. And you can't make people heal. It's still free will zone here, and it's a choice. What are we creating with our energy? What are we creating for the planet? But what are we creating for our own body? I mean, because every word has effect, and that's a lot of what people forget.
And that's for the individual and also for everything that's going on right now. I mean, I find myself, now that I'm back to doing a podcast and I've got to be doing more research than I was doing, and Stephanie and I sort of had this ability to stay in the rainbows and butterflies arena. And now I've left that. it gets challenging to look at the world and what's going on. I had Dane Wigington on last week, and talking about how geoengineering is absolutely creating a mess for this planet, and that would be an understatement.
That's the climate change. Climate change. Now it's called geoengineering. I posted recently more than 100 patents of what's been created for being able to affect the weather, et cetera, and weather weaponry. I mean, it's been a thing for a long time. If you look at the patents and the records on it, even if you just realize they have the ability to stop or move hurricanes, that would tell you something about what's gone on recently. So, but we're not ever shown anything we don't have the power to change. The planet's in very, very deep shift. And part of that, when I was asked to do this project, you asked about that. It's like I'm in, because they always said that when it's time, it's got to be everywhere fast. When it's time, it's got to be everywhere fast. Initially, it had to be private homes, so it couldn't be stopped. And then when it goes out, it has to be everywhere fast, so it can't be stopped. And that's where we are in that. So in 2 years, more than 700 centers in 57 countries, because we've got a whole world to change. But we're in such deep shift. I was asked, I had to create technology because so much technology was being weaponized against us. And so I was asked to create the counterpoint to all the abuse of Tesla's work, all the abuse of scalar weaponry, all these, HARP and all these things, to override it with a higher power, the power of love. But awareness is our power. Love is our superpower. And you have to remember that we do have the power and to be able to focus intention. Scalar, one aspect of it is carrier waves, and it's dense intentional informational fields. And so people get together and meditate like you're having them do in the system. That's extraordinarily powerful to broadcast because they're carrier waves. And the DNA is they're it's you got your receptors and your transducers. DNA is wireless transmission. Scalar is wireless transmission that you can actually broadcast. And what do we want to create for our world? A new heaven, a new earth. Let's focus on what we want. But awareness is our power. You have to know what's been created, how it's been created to change it. And then we are the change agents. We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's time for people to show up with full awareness and full memory of who we are, all that we are, all that we're here for. Because, it's all been about that, getting people distracted, pulled off track, creating division, divide and conquer. Well, this is unified fields. We have to come together and be the greater community. We have to come together and stand together in our power, our light, and our love. Our spinal column is meant to be that standing column or wave, which we talk about a lot in biophysics and quantum physics, that standing column or wave, scalar vortex. But, the spinal column is meant to be that column of light. And then we're meant to be those pillars of light in the temple, those pillars in the temple of God. And when we stand together, God wins. So, but it's a matter of us standing in our power, in our light, in our love, with total remembrance. Christ said everything and more, everything he did and more we're to do. And we're not limited to, our only limitations, our own thoughts, our own programming. That's the only limitation. God's unlimited. We have access to unlimited power, infinite intelligence, unconditional love. Should we choose to accept it? So that infinite intelligence, what if you could know whatever God wants you to know, the knowing which that can heal the whole world?
Right.
Why not?
And it becomes even more challenging when we're in a society that has the manipulative overriding forces wanting us to be in division. I mean, here we are 15 days before the election,
Yeah.
and it seems like they've really brought the, like energies up for us to divide us, and I'm hoping that when the election's passed, whatever happens, that we can get back to, not being so divided and not holding on to those energies, and because it is to the detriment of society and the planet, and ultimately, I mean, all of that, but ourselves also.
Yeah. And it's all divide and conquer, that polarization. And, I mean, the powers that have been, they're desperately, I mean, they're just in your face because they're like desperate. They're like cornered animals or something. It's not even veiled anymore. It's in your face, blatant, because we're in very, very deep shift. The 26,000-year cycle of the precession of the equinoxes. We're in the full time of the fulfillment of the prophecies of every culture on the planet. And I like to talk about how we're here now to be in the fulfillment of all the prayers, all the promises, all the prophecies of all who've gone before us in this time of the turning of the ages and a new heaven and a new earth through us. And I'm very, very encouraged about that. Because I think we're there really. But things get a lot darker before the light. It's like the cocoon, where it's a lot more constriction and a lot more dark before that emergence of our, the true rainbow beings and all that rainbows and light and butterfly stuff, that transformation. And this is meant to be a paradise planet, and they've gone out of their way. The only way they can maintain the control is by creating war. And that's been their mechanism. That's been the Rothschild model, the banking model. But the Rothschild model has instigate both sides, fund both sides, put both sides in debt, and maintain this debt-based economy of the fiat economy. That's the whole planet. Every single country is in debt to who for what. But it's been war through deception is the only way they could keep it going. Well, people aren't buying it as much anymore. We're just not in the same way. So it's an interesting time, though, and if they can keep people in victim, then they forget that we're, you know, sons and daughters of God. What if we really are the real thing is, what if we're really all that we really are? And that's part of why you're doing your sound healing, your bowls, you're, in the system. And that's powerful. Even when you're not in one of our EESystem centers, you have your own EE cube that you're traveling with, right? And you set that up. And has that transformed and because you had lots of experience with doing your sound healing sessions for years already, has that taken it to a whole nother level of resonance?
It really has. We did an event earlier this year in Houston, and our last one in Houston was pre-COVID, so it was February of 2020. And we had 150 people. Well, we had 450 the night before, and then the next day in the pyramid at the Unity of Houston, we had 150 people. That was in 2020. We came back this year. We just did the pyramid. We had 80 people, which they were just thrilled about. We had the cube in the very center underneath the peak of the pyramid. And I just did an interview with someone 2 days ago that was at that event, and people were blown away by the EESystem energies, how they were really lifting up the entire experience, and people felt it immediately. I mean, they walked in, and this is a place they go quite often to meditate and to have sound healing and other experiences, and they felt immediately before we did anything. They felt the difference immediately. The cube has been incredible. One of the things that's challenging for us a little bit. I mean, well, when we got the cube, we were traveling with our 40-foot RV, which had two slide outs in the middle. So we could literally have the cube right in the middle of it. And now we're in this small truck camper. We don't have room for the cube. I shouldn't be complaining because 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, we're in the EESystem. So we've had weeks that we've been literally in EESystem centers in the 24 units, mostly 24 units for 50 hours. And it's really, and then people are like, they ask us, they're like, oh, do you want to sleep in our center tonight? And we're like, oh my gosh, we get so much that, we need to detox and everything. And just let's touch on that real quick, because I tell people that step one is to be in the EESystem, energetic, with the towers or however the units are set up. And then step two, because it's a 2-step process, is to do the detox baths. And I tell people it's not like, oh, maybe you'll do a detox bath. It's like, no, just address that quickly, because I feel like people can't hear it enough.
Right. And it's not like an optional thing, really, if you want it, because right now we're living in such a toxic soup, and everybody is dealing with extreme radiation poisoning. That's the reality between 5G and smartphones and smart meters and all this smart everything, Tesla cars, and I mean just on and on. Besides all the radiation from Fukushima, which is still going on, which was an extinction level event. So we're living in a toxic soup then too, with all the geoengineering, the aluminum, strontium, chromium, all the stuff, barium. That's good. Yeah. All that nano aluminum and all that other stuff, and biologics and synthetic biologies and all these things that we're exposed to on a daily basis. Synthetic biologies would include people, the hijacking of the DNA, and then the body is the people that got that were convinced to take that injection, that hijacks the DNA, still could be creating, and they're shedding. They're shedding whatever it is that they're shedding, but it's affecting people. And so all these things and all the toxins in the air, the food, the water, we're in such a toxic soup. The only way we can really stay healthy in this, I mean, the cancer rates and the turbo cancers are off the charts. The only way you can stay healthy is detox, detox, detox. And so that's one of the biggest benefits of the EESystem, because it's giving the body, it's literally raising the millivoltage of the cells, and it's raising that transmembrane potential, but bringing that voltage back up. So now the body literally has the charge, like you recharge your cell phone, but you recharge every cell of your body. And it's a charge then, when the body has a charge, it wants to discharge everything that doesn't belong. And so after being in a system, the body will be trying to push toxins out of every nook and cranny it can get it out of. All the neurotoxins, all the, just viral loads, fungal loads, all these different things, all the heavy metals. And that's a long list. But it's going to be trying to push that out of every nook and cranny it can get it out of. So you want to drink a lot of water. Hydration is a big, big thing, both before and after being in the system. You want to drink a lot of water. And that detox bath is 2 cups of salt. A pound of salt is the basis. That's the basic, a pound of salt. And you want to do better than Morton's. That'll work in a pinch, but you want to do a real salt, like real salt from Utah, or Himalayan salt, or Celtic salt, or Hawaiian salt, or some sort of sea salt, or a mineral salt. 2 cups of salt, and the salt's a negative charge, the toxins are a positive charge. You do a nice hot salt bath, that's hyperthermia. It's raising the body temperature, that's going to jump the immune function up. And so it's hyperthermia. It's like being able to have the results of doing a fever, which is how the body naturally wants to clear viral loads and fungal loads and toxins, is a fever. So you start to get the slightest bit of a fever, get in that hot salt bath, support the body in doing what it's trying to do without your body having to use all its energy to do that fever. So hot salt bath opens up the capillaries, opens up the pores, you know. So then, like I said, the salt's a negative charge, toxins a positive charge. You breathe because that's your expiration, respiration. It takes breath for energy to move. And allow that, let everything dissolve into that water and let it go down the drain. So that's your basic detox bath. The little, what we really recommend more now is 2 cups salt, 2 cups baking soda. That's going to pull the acidity out of the tissues even that much more. And there's only cancer where there's been acidification of tissue, acidification of the systems. So you want to pull that excess acidity out. That's the specific bath also for radiation, and another specific for the radiation, and number one detoxer for fluoride and for synthetic biologies, nanobots, and these other things. So it's 2 cups salt, 2 cups baking soda, 1 cup of borax, 20 multein borax, which is it's simply a boron deposit, been around 100 years. And so you put that in the tub, and that, we've literally had people, seeing parasites in the tub, sand in the bottom of the tub, water turns black. We've had water turn the color of steel for the first 6 baths, things like that. You know, all kinds of crazy detox, and or being able to take a black light to that water and you could see the luciferases, bioluminescent things, but it looks like parasites moving in the water. It's really strange, weird stuff. But anyway, it's very, very, very powerful, and nothing does what a bath does because the skin is the largest organ of elimination. And it is the third kidneys. So you want to take all the stress off the kidneys. You don't want to go end up in dialysis. You want to take all the stress off the kidneys, especially after they had you on how many drugs when you got here and stuff.
More than I could count.
Crazy, right?
This protocol, even if you're not for some reason going to an EESystem center, doing this detox bath with the 2 cups of sea salt, and it's not Epsom salt, which is not, that's magnesium that's going to pull things back into the body. So 2 cups of the sea salt or a high grade salt, 2 cups of the baking soda, a cup of borax should be done by people who haven't even gotten to an EESystem center yet, because we all need to be detoxing.
Exactly. And that's the world's easiest detox. It really is. Nothing does what that bath does. And it works with the charge in the body as well, which is everything is energy. All life is energy. Everything is that synapses and, energy moving in the body. So you want to increase that charge when the body has the energy, wants to heal anything and everything. But that charge will work with that. That detox salt bath is miraculous in itself, something anybody and everybody can do at home, even if you don't have a bathtub. Get a big bucket, get a big waste basket, put your feet in it, make the same similar solution, but put your feet in it very hot. Take a towel and put it up over the body, do salt scrub, things like that, and support the detox, and really, let's honor these bodies because they're just the infinite innate intelligence of these bodies are incredible. So let's support that intelligence of the body.
I often say that we were the only people at that RV park in Las Vegas for 5 weeks that also had a hotel room at the Silverton across the street. So we could go over there. We'd walk in, spend an hour and a half, come out, we would do our baths. Both Stephanie and I would take our baths in there, and we'd come out and leave. No idea what they thought was going on. But it was having to do that detox, and I hold, it's that 2-step process that just the results from it can't be denied.
Yeah, and that was so critical for you. Like they had you on so many drugs, and you could barely, I mean, it took forever just to get you into the system with the walker and two people helping. And
Yep.
you really couldn't even stand up by yourself. And then after 2 hours, you walked totally unassisted. But
Yeah.
then the next day, I think you came back and you weren't feeling good. But it was that detox effect as the body's trying to push out. The first question was, did you do the detox bath? Make sure you get in that. That was not optional.
And that is something that's kind of a common thing for people is that they come to a system, they spend their 2 hours or however many hours in it, they do the bath, but it maybe they're still not feeling that well because I mean we've all got so much going on that it there's a process involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And healing is kind of like peeling an onion. There's lots of layers to it, and some of the layers stink more than others and are easier to peel off than others. And it's kind of like that. It's a process. But it's not like you can clear a whole lifetime of toxicity in 2 hours. You didn't get where you got overnight.
That's
And so it is a
a great
process.
point that many of us have spent years and years getting to this place of being in dis-ease and everything, and it's not just going to turn around with one session. I did 70 hours my first go in that 5 weeks, and then we got the cube, and so we had that, and then we would come back to Las Vegas every 3 or 4 months and spend another week in your system there, going through the process, and it really is ongoing.
Yeah, and people ask, and it's like, how much is it going to take? Well, how healthy do you want to be for how long? you know, do you want to just mitigate some symptoms, or do you want to have superpowers? Like what you're doing is really super empowered. To be able to go place to place to place to place like that, sharing with so many people, sharing an intense program with that many people, I would say you're turned on.
Yeah.
Somebody turn the lights on. You're empowered. It's like plugging back into the cosmic light socket, universal unlimited power on, so that you have the energy to fulfill your highest embodiment, your highest purpose, to walk the planet as a fully realized Christed being, you know?
And that's exactly it. My body wanted this. God wanted this for me, and on the deepest levels, I wanted it for myself, just didn't quite know how to get there. Now, 700 centers, 57 countries. My natural question is, where does it go from here?
We're right now, the big exciting thing is the Vet USA project. VetUSA.com. The website's still up. It's about to be completely taken down and revamped, but VetUSA.com. We're just waiting for the disbursement of all the funds for that, and it'll be 900 wellness centers for our veterans, wellness and resource centers for our veterans in the US, and
Amazing.
200 worldwide. So it's 1,100 wellness centers for our veterans. We figure it's about 60 million people that will be impacting with that. We just want to heal the world.
More 1,100 centers anchoring more of that energy enhancement system energies, EESystem energies all over the world. It's like planetary acupuncture.
Yes, I mean, that's right. It's that coherent, cohesive light, laser light acupuncture, but it's every system is, like earth acupuncture. Exactly. So that's very, very exciting. And, just from off the charts, we're ready to go with that. That's So that's one of the things. And it's a big thing. I've been working on that for over 10 years with Jack Lineweber. There's a few videos out there. One's an interview with Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter, an interview with Jack Lineweber on the Vet USA project. Another one's with SG Anon. There's another with one of our system owners. So vetusa.com, very, very, very important project that we've worked on for a long time. And we're just waiting for the disbursement any moment on that. And the initial, there'll be a training center. There'll be, Houston will be a big base, and also in Reno area. So that's ready to rock and roll, and that's exciting. Also, our water, advanced water remediation projects are going forward. So that's another big deal. There's a lot going on, and I just got back from a great trip. We did 3 programs in Greece with centers in Crete. So we did programs in Crete, in Athens, and Saloniki, and wonderful programs there. Really launched Greece. And then we were in Germany. In Rosenberg, we had a meeting of 40 system owners. So that was great. And we had system owners come from all over, from Prague and Belgium and Netherlands, and some even came from Africa, from Kenya, just literally from all over. Had 40 system owners there, but then we did a big program with over 350 people in Munich, in conjunction with the center there. And then the one in Ireland was really a wonderful, wonderful program. Did a big program there. I just got some feedback from that too. The one in Ireland is a 48-unit system there. Yeah. And I just got some feedback. There was a very interesting little story. 2 boys that were there were brought in with a film crew because they're doing a documentary about these 2 boys with muscular dystrophy. And I think they were 8 and 10 now. But interesting story is their older brother passed at 14, and then they were working with a medium who told the mother to get the brothers, that the brother that passed told through the medium to the mother to get the brothers to the center, to the EESystem in Northern Ireland, in Donegal. And so they had them there. I just got the feedback that there was 2 inches of regeneration of their spine so far already documented.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
you received some powerful messages from this medium also. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a different medium, but it's a similar story. And they have a lot of interesting stories over there. But yeah, Sandy Ingham, I sent you her testimonial. So she had come, her life, Leonardo da Vinci, she just calls him Leo, has been her guide. Her mother passed at a very young age, and then she dealt with a lot of physical, sexual abuse stuff. And so stayed totally bonded to spirit. And yeah, just like we're talking, that's how she talks, like that. So she's very famous as a medium, Sandy Ingham, and she's in the UK. And she had the conversation, said, okay, I'm dying. She had extreme rheumatoid arthritis. She had MS. She had multiple tumors, couldn't stand up, couldn't walk, she was in bad shape. She said, I'm dying. And Leonardo told her to go to the center in Donegal, Northern Ireland, and do 50 hours. He told her 50 hours. When she came out after 50 hours of using the system, did a number of overnights and things. And after 50 hours, all of it was totally gone. So that's nice. But so there's that. So she just came to the event that we just did, a huge event there, like 500 people. And with Jason Shirka came also, who did that original interview, Revolution of Healing. And so he was there, but she also, besides me speaking, so she also did a program, and she's very interesting because in front of the group of 500 people, she would draw she would go into, into a state to allow Leonardo to draw and give messages to the people in the room. It was their loved ones that wanted to give them messages. And so she's drawing exactly like Leonardo da Vinci would draw. And giving, and then she'd periodically write a name or some part of the memory that would clue. And then somebody in the audience go, "Oh my God." Well, the first one she did, the woman goes, "Oh my God, that's my father." I was trying to give her a message, come through to give her a message. And if you can imagine her father being sketched as Leonardo da Vinci would sketch him. Crazy. I mean, and then she got out a photo. It's exactly him. Exactly. So that was real interesting. And I guess on her website, she's on there, and she would do that with Leonardo drawing with both hands simultaneously, two different people. Crazy stuff. But anyway, yeah, so she had sent me a message, and it was wonderful spending some time with her, and she wanted more time but it was pretty wonderful because she talked about how Leonardo da Vinci was also, remember all his work, all the work of Leonardo and the Fibonacci sequences, and how that works with the precise sacred geometries of the body, and he was an inventor, and all the codes and everything, Tartarian, there was free energy, all that stuff with Leonardo da Vinci. Anyway, she said that he was the main guide for Tesla, and then talked about how Tesla's been my guide, my, that all of Tesla's work was downloaded to me. Well, yes, I was conceived at Tesla's power plant. I did all of Tesla's experiments. I couldn't see anything as any other way than the way Tesla sees it. So she was giving me more clarification on that whole thing, and the importance of the work that we're to do with the healing of the waters, that everybody will have clean water. This process takes the water down to the very atoms with no detrimental residues, no filter like that. It's the PFAS, the forever chemicals, the radiation, all that. It takes it all inert, and takes the water down to pure water. And then we'll be also working with charging that, hypercharging it. And so that's one of our big projects for the world. But one of the more encouraging things was, I'm in the backseat of God going, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And somebody decided we were there and kicked us out, with that revolution of healing that had to be everywhere fast, so it couldn't be stopped. And we were scrambling as fast as we could to try to fulfill that mission, that edict. But anyway, she was saying that what Leonardo and Tesla were telling her, that's what allows us, and that's what's created this quantum shift, quantum leap of consciousness on the planet the great awakening that will not be stopped. She says, Leonardo is never wrong with dates. Okay, good, because past, present, future to me is all the same, and I can't tell the difference. I'm a visionary. I usually see about 20 years ahead. I know the outcomes. I've been shown them. Just like I knew, yes, this would happen when it was time. But patience, yeah. No, still waiting. But anyway, and now we're here in this time of the turning, and it's very, very exciting because Leonardo has assured us that definitively in 2 years we will not recognize this planet, because we'll be fully into the golden age, a new heaven, new earth through us. Yeah, the age of Aquarius. Part of that is Pluto's going finally into Aquarius. Right now it's back in that nth degree of Capricorn, that Pluto can be seen as destruction, birth, death, rebirth, transformation, but that destructuring of the old systems has been in Capricorn, which has been all the power over, power down structures. And those are all kind of being busted up, broken up. And Pluto finally moving for the last time into Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. It'll seem like sudden enlightenment, kind of, so to speak. But Aquarius is about freedom and about the eternal quest for truth. And it's truth then that sets us free. It's part of how our technology works. The cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. And so that's all about that quest for truth and freedom, the truth of who we really are, all that we are, all that we're here for, the truth of our being on this planet at this time on purpose to fulfill all of our highest purposes, never showing up here on this planet in the first place. It's going into Aquarius. Aquarius is also healing for humanity and through technology. That's part of the Aquarian, yeah, Aquarian gift. Yeah, healing for humanity. And the technology that can heal the world and bringing that forward. So it's an exciting time when you look at it that way, even though right now it looks pretty dark. And it's always, to me, you see what they've been doing and what they've created, and you can, don't get stuck on not seeing the forest for the tree, look what they're doing to us. And, we don't need more fancy victims right now. Okay. You have to know what's been created to know that we can recreate. Now, how do we create what we want? And how do we say enough's enough, and call for everything being revealed, everything being brought to light. Where there's light, there's no more darkness. So the revelation really is what we're, in the time of revelation and apocalypse, the time of that turning. But that means everything's being exposed. Everything's being brought out into the open, out into the light, like the P. Diddy stuff that's gone on and the Epstein and all these, and the underpinning, I've told everybody, the underpinning of everything has been that satanic ritual abuse, the Luciferic lineages, but that can no longer maintain control on this planet. Unlimited beings, powerful, infinite sons and daughters of God are out of control. How do you control an unlimited being?
This right now, and it's the perfect segue to how I like to end the shows, which is to take us into the solutions. And so just you've been so positive about everything as you're talking about some of the heaviest things going on. For our viewers, take us into, in just the most practical terms, what can people do right now as they finish watching this podcast? What can they do? What's the perspective? What energy can they hold that will assist everything that you've just spoken about and everything that you've seen in the future, and that I feel it from you, that you absolutely know is happening? How can the rest of us be sure to connect with that to really just move it all forward?
Well, first off, I didn't say this going in, is I'm a kahuna. I'm recognized as a kahuna, the one who's in the fulfillment of the prophecies at the time of crisis on the planet. It's aloha that heals the world. So first thing is taking that big, deep breath, breathing. And what if you could breathe in all God's love and love yourself as much as God loves you? Have all God's love through every cell. Breathe in all the power, all the light, all the love, all the intelligence right into your heart, and expand that capacity for love, opening up the heart, breathing fully. So the exhale can be a total relaxation, where we can relax into a new place of peace and power and light and love. And that's infinite waves of love, aloha. So that's the easiest way to understand scalar. Also, it's these infinity waves that come together, creates implosion and a release of love that flows out infinitely. The more love you allow yourself to feel, to have, to know, to be, the more it allows for everybody. So being willing to feel so much of God's love that you allow every being in the universe to feel the power and the presence of that love of our being here right now. So we always like to start with aloha, but get in a system. Go to EESystem.com, go to unifiedhealing.com. You can keyword search there too on testimonials. Unified, UNIFYD healing.com. Find the system nearest you. Please get to your events, which are absolutely magnificently, brilliantly wonderful. And just get in it. And the technology synchronizes right and left brain so much that you can go to your ideal optimal meditational state. A deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in the first 7 minutes is the actual Pentagon brain research. Because and I say all your prayers and let yourself know what God wants you to know. What if you could know whatever there is to know for yourself? Whatever there is to know, the knowing of which that can allow all things to totally heal and be clear as issues in your body, your life, your relationships, our country, for our whole world now. And we, the people, want our country back. I'm born on Constitution Day. We, the people, want our country back. And we, the grandmothers, that's the fulfillment of prophecy as well. We, the grandmothers, want our planet back for our grandchildren. So you go into the ideal optimal meditational state, let yourself know what God wants you to know. And then also focus on what we want. Visualization. We have to create the new world. Whatever you focus on expands. If you keep focusing on the issues and the problems and what's been created, you're giving that power over. And like I said, we don't need more fancy victims. Look what they've done to us. No, it's be grateful for all of it. He who is grateful in all things shall be made glorious. Gee, thanks. Grateful for all of it, because the more that you're grateful for, the more you get to be grateful for. And whatever it has taken for us to remember who we are, all that we are, and all that we're here for, it's been worth the trip. Whatever it's taken for us to be able to fulfill all of our highest purposes of being here on this planet at this time, is worth it. So grateful for all the learnings. It's been some high tuition learning experiences. Let's call forth all the wisdom, all those experiences. And we have to create the new. There's a destructuring to be a restructuring. There's got to be a destructuring. You can't put Band-Aids on these old systems. It was hijacked and infiltrated, and our DNA, they tried to hijack our DNA every which way, because that's our God code. That's what sets us apart as the sons and daughters of God, our divinity is that light. The prime function of DNA is the storage of photons, quantums of light, as we're radiant light beings. And so in that acceptance of who we are, you go back to creating what we want, a new heaven, new earth. And we have to create the new earth, the new systems, the new structures that make all the old systems obsolete.
I am beside myself. I want to thank you so much I can never thank you enough for what you've done for my life. I want to thank you for what you're doing for this planet and what you're doing for humanity. And it's almost beyond expression for me. I hope that you feel it. I hope that people will watch this podcast and really be able to connect with what's available and how you've just ended it right here for us and taken us into this energetic that we can hold dear and truly own in our hearts, to create the change that's available. Thank you so much. I love you beyond words. And I know that I am one of so many people that feel that same way. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do. And you have my support forever.
Oh, thanks. And we have to be the change we want to see in the world. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now let's go. Let's do this. Let's get her done. We are the light. We are the love. Don't let anybody take that, don't let anything distract you from that. Sin means off track, distraction.
Right.
So it's about being aligned by the light, with the light, as light and highest powers of love here on earth as it is in heaven through us now. Yeah.
Well, you are an inspiration. Thank you. People can find more information at EESystem.com and unifiedhealing.com. And Unified Healing, of course, is linked off of the EESystem site, I'm sure. You all have a new site. There's lots of good information there, and people can find centers all over the world there and on the Unified site. Thank you so much.
YouTube. There's lots on YouTube too.
I love it.
Information
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandra. And I appreciate you and hope to see you in person again soon.
Yes. And thanks for letting me share with everybody. And so say aloha and remind everybody, no matter what happens, keep breathing. God's only a breath away ever.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.